Mr. Chair. I was reading my script here. The amendment is a confused solution in search of a problem. The problem in the legislation is that it seeks to address is a forced issue directive on water rights. The Forest Service is already in the process of addressing these water rights, as I just stated, with the ski resorts, and the problem is in the process of being addressed and hopefully solved administratively. Yet the amendment neglects these developments and instead significantly expands the scope of the legislation. The amendment includes the insertion of the words, quote, impairment of title, end quote, in the base text of the legislation. This inclusion makes the bill broader, and interpretation of this clause could lead to more litigation. What is more troubling is the majority's attempt to federally define a water right, which, by definition, is a matter of state law. This legislation, again, overreaches, defines water rights are at a federal level, neglecting that each state defines water rights differently and has the primacy to do so. If the majority is planning on federalizing water rights, we should at least have a hearing to hear from all stakeholders on how best to do so. The amendment also creates a savings clause under Section 4. Yet, as stated by Ranking Member DeFazio, the Section 4, this new Section 4, contradicts existing Section 2. Quote, if nothing in this Act limits or expands existing authority, then the Act can't disallow certain conditions to be put in place. However, as the majority has argued, this is the main point of the bill, and it's exactly what Section 2 does. The amendment is just as confused on the new title, a bill, quote, to prohibit the conditioning of any permit, lease, or other use agreement on the transfer of any water right to the United States by the Secretaries of the Interior and Agriculture, end quote. This, again, runs in direct contradiction to Section 4. Both Section 4 and 2 can't be true. Because of this confusion, the savings clause is essentially ineffective and does not alleviate any concerns brought up by the Departments of Interior, Agriculture, or nearly the 50 groups in opposition to this legislation. The amendment does nothing to limit the scope of the bill, alleviate any concerns by the affected groups, or contain the negative impact of the legislation, which is what this amendment would succeed in creating more confusion. I ask for a no vote on this, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Generally,